If you want to go from feeling trapped by your work to actually building freedom with it, you need to listen to me. Burnout is not a badge of honor. Like you, so many creators and creative entrepreneurs are dangerously close to burnout. And the scary part is that you think it is normal. You were sold a dream, and the pitch sounds something like want to make money doing what you love while traveling the world and working on your own terms. Quit your 9 to 5 and become a creator. It sounds sweet. It's even inspiring. But for most people, the reality is more like want to work 12 hours a day for free, burn yourself out, and still feel behind, become a creator. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. Algorithms will kill your passion unless you figure out a way to go independent. Because if the creator or the entrepreneurial life is supposed to give you freedom, why does it feel like a prison? Now, if you've been looking for the alternative path that doesn't sugarcoat the journey and what it is like, well, I'll share it with you. But first, let's consider the following together. The truth is, most of us believe we're building real assets on social media, but we're not. That audience you're proud of, you actually don't own it. The platform does. And if it shuts down tomorrow, so does everything you built. Difference between dependent and independent creators, that's the difference. Dependent creators are slaves to the platform they can't control. But independent creators own their platforms, their systems, and their communities. But here's why most creators are stuck. Algorithms want just one thing, and that's product. And it wants it now, it wants it faster, and it wants more of it. And that's why consistency is key, has somewhat become toxic. It's no longer about growth. It's about survival. It's no longer about mastery. It has become about finding or feeding the machine. And it's no longer about creativity. Now it's all about performance. And when your life, or when you live your life like a performer to an algorithm, burnout isn't just a possibility, it is inevitable. Now, think about it. Consistency is key. And it used to be, the need for you to be disciplined. It used to mean showing up and building trust with your audience. But the truth is now it has become dependence. Post daily or disappear, miss a week or get punished by the algorithm, stop creating for a month and you feel irrelevant. And this is why so many creators feel stuck in this, what I'll call hamster wheel. They can't rest, they can't breathe, they can't pause to actually think about what they are creating because the algorithm doesn't reward thoughtfulness anymore. It rewards volume. And I've seen this happen to so many creators, talented people who once loved what they do, but now they're exhausted, they are uninspired, and they are quietly resenting the very thing that is supposed to set them free. And honestly, I've been there too. There have been seasons in my journey where I feel the pressure to keep up with everyone else, to feed the platforms because I didn't want to be forgotten, But there was one thing I learned, which is very important, and is that algorithms don't care about your passion. These platforms don't care about your purpose. They only care about productivity. And that's dangerous. And if you don't learn how to build beyond the algorithm, you will lose the very thing that brought you, to this place, this thing that you love to do, the love for creating. You will lose it. And I'm saying this to you because I understand how deep and how crazy it can be. There was a point when within my journey as well, when I realized that if I wanted to last, I couldn't just build for the platform. I need to build for myself. when I started creating stock photos, for example, I didn't know it would take off the way it did. But instead of relying on just, posting content, I thought, what if I built something that could live beyond me? And those stock photos have been, seen by over 200 million, people, downloads, several downloads, not because I fed the algorithm, but because I built an asset. And then the same thing happened for my podcast, Real Life Out. It didn't just grow because I spammed content every day. It grew because I nurtured it into something that was quite consistent, and it built a community by itself, by default. And if I talk about my company, which I rarely talk about, my startup, Photopole, I am obsessed with one thing, and that is ownership. Building systems and your platform that doesn't depend on whether Instagram changes its rules or YouTube changes its policy or something. So think about it in a very interesting way. What do you really want to create? What are you actually building? What's driving you to do these things? Because the truth is, posts, they fade. Platforms change. But assets are built to last. So let me give you, I always say 3 things, but yeah, I'll give you 3 things that I believe would actually help you move from being a dependent creator to an independent one. And the first thing is that you need to go from audiences to communities. An audience is people who follow you. But then think about it really well. What do you really need? You need people who build with you, people who understand your story, your journey, who see the ins and outs. That's where community comes in. And the difference between these two is ownership, depth, real connection. Can you really pour yourself into people and make them see that there is more to this thing on the surface? And they commit themselves to it. Don't just chase followers. You need to create a space where people can belong. I've said it before. Your platform doesn't belong to you, but then you're the owner of it. You're the one leading it. So you need to operate that same way. Think about it, whether it is creating a newsletter, a private hub, or even a group chat. But just start from somewhere. Where can people connect with you outside of the current work that you do, outside of social media, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and all of these places? It's amazing, it's beautiful. But this is where you actually do the actual work. And if you've ever read anything I wrote on Substack, I started Substack in January of 2025. And bit by bit, I put out the things genuinely exciting to me. And within 6 months, I had grown to 8,000. And then I started changing my strategies to actually share more deep and intimate things with my audience. And it switched again. And in 3 months, I grew to 16,000. So build something beyond these platforms. And I mentioned Substack. Substack allows you to actually own your audience. You can migrate them at any time you want. And this isn't an ad for Substack. I'm just letting you know, one of those places I enjoy creating at. And the next thing now is to go from algorithms to systems. Instead of asking, what does the algorithm want from me today? Ask yourself, how can I create systems that make my content work for me? Batch your ideas, repurpose your best content. You basically need to build a pipeline that multiplies your effort instead of draining it. And then number 3 is go from platforms to ownership. I think I've said something quite similar to this. Stop feeding the machine without feeding yourself. You use Instagram, TikTok, all of them, but don't depend on them. Build assets you own, your mailing list, your website, your products, your IP, things that are particular to you, because the creators who last aren't the ones who just post the most. They are the ones who own the most. Some of you edit inside TikTok, inside Instagram, and then once you share it, it's gone. You don't have it documented somewhere else. Think about that. For example, when you know, lockdown struck in 2020, I started creating short form content and I'll publish it on TikTok. But then I was editing on my laptop in Premiere Pro and I had a backlog of like over 200 posts. And then when Instagram released Reels in 2020 August, I just started posting everything I created from January 2020, on Reels. And that created this ripple effect. My account started to grow rapidly. And as my account was growing, I was wise enough to create a newsletter. Immediately, I created a newsletter and I was funneling those people, watching my content, enjoying it into actual, communities. And that's how you do it. Because I'm quite tired of this whole idea that you bought into that become a creator. Don't quit your 9 to 5 if you don't have a lay down plan on how to actually take content creation entrepreneurship seriously. Because if being a creator or an entrepreneur is really the answer to all of life's problems, then it should give you life, not take it from you. So I feel like we need a generation of creators, a new generation of creators who don't just chase audiences, but actually cultivates communities, creators who don't just feed the platform, but actually build systems. And I hope you'd be one of these creators who just don't depend on algorithms, but create initiatives, networks, and movements that actually last. Because consistency won't save you at this point. Ownership will. So here's my challenge for you. And I want you to take this seriously. Stop measuring your worth by how many times you posted this week. And start measuring it by what you are actually building. Are you building for platforms? Or are you building for yourself? Now, I'm quite curious to know what your answers to this will be. So tell me in the comments, because I'm really, really excited to actually hear what you have to say. I love hearing your thoughts, and you sent me your deep thoughts the last time I spoke to you, and I was quite grateful for that. I'm still going through some of them because they're really deep, and I'll respond in time. And if you're ready to stop burning out and start building systems that actually amplify your influence and scale your impact, then I created something I believe will really help you do this. It's called Amplify and Scale, because I believe that creators like you deserve more than just survival. You deserve to thrive. So if you want access to this, I'll put a link in the description for you to do that. And as usual, I'm really grateful that you listen to these things I share with you. And I'm so excited that you're taking that step to start protecting your passion, like building ownership. And hopefully I'll talk to you soon. All right.